Hello, I'm David, and today I'm successfully living with bipolar 1, but it hasn't always been that way. Just a couple years ago, I had lost everything, partially due to the illness, partially due to self-medication, and I found myself living on the streets of Fort Worth. And today I'm going to share with you a little bit about my journey, my story, how I ran from my diagnosis, how I denied it for years, and how I finally got treatment and help and found the hope that I need to not only survive but thrive today. My life has had intermittent periods of success and I don't want to say failure, but lulls. And from high school, I went on to Baylor, graduated from there, had a good career in the nonprofit industry, really enjoyed that work, and went back to grad school at SMU and graduated from there in 2003. And then from then on, had some jobs at some points in time, and other times I was incapable of working, and I didn't know why. I didn't understand why I was feeling these bursts of productivity and these absolute just laid out periods. And it wasn't until I kind of got further into it, I did my own research and went and saw professionals that, we got my diagnosis, and that made sense to me. It made sense to the more I learned about it, the more I understood that this was an issue. The thing about it is, when they told me about my diagnosis, I was very fearful about that because I was looking to expand build a career, and I was worried about the stigma that mental illness still carries in this country, especially when you're looking for a job. I think that sometimes employers look at you, and if they know your diagnosis, they look at you as a hand grenade with the pin pulled out and your thumbs on the detonator, that it could go off at any time. And for a lot of us, that's not fair. That's not a fair comparison because we can be extraordinarily productive and good team members and good employees. But I was worried that I would never get a job because of the diagnosis that I had. Or if I did get a job, it would be, I'd be underemployed and just doing, menial things. So I think I hid from my diagnosis a lot because of that reason. And that was really, in hindsight, the wrong move for me to make. Because I do have a lot to offer. I think, and now that I've gone and gone through the whole recovery process and come out on the other side, I feel like I wasted a lot of time and a lot of energy on running from something I didn't have to run from. It's all about embracing for me, it's embracing the illness as part of my life, but not the defining part of my life. I think stigma and denial play a huge part in anybody's life who is facing the challenge of mental illness. There's a lot of, for me, it was a little bit of the stigma, but most of it was self-stigma. For me, I put limitations on myself because of what people were telling me and because of what I read. And I think that there's no reason for that. Looking back on it now, I'm in such a good place now. I take my medication every day. I do the things in my life. We all wake up with choices to make in our daily life, and I make the right choice every day about what I'm going to do for that day. And part of that is taking the things I need to take in order to manage my illness. And when I do that, there's nothing that's beyond my grasp. I truly feel that way.
What kept you going?
Hope and the support of friends and family. Those two things work hand in hand to help me get to the place where I am right now. Hope is an engine. It's the catalyst. It's everything. And as far down as I was, I never lost hope. It was a diminishing reservoir for sure. And I had just a little bit left, but it never left me completely. And I think that if you lose hope, there's no way you can wage the battle that you need to wage in order to come out on the other side of it.
So where do you feel you're in life now?
That's a very good question. Part of me regrets losing everything and going to the place that I went to, But part of me doesn't, because I'm a much better person now than I ever was before. Having had that experience, I now value what's truly valuable in life. Every day for me is a blessing, and I know that as long as I continue to daily do it daily, complete the things I need to complete to continue my recovery, there's nothing that I can't do. And life is full of surprises for me. Every day is a new challenge and a new surprise, and I embrace that fully.
Okay, so David, what does mental illness feel like?
What does mental illness feel like? I don't know if I can adequately describe what it feels like, because it's not one thing.
Okay, so it's different things at different times depending on where you are in the experience.
Absolutely. I think your experience kind of runs the show. And, when you're manic, for me personally, I felt I could solve all the world's problems. I felt there was nothing I couldn't do. I had the confidence that I always wanted, and I felt if I could have that feeling forever, well, how glorious would that be? That's not exactly true. That was just what was going on in my own mind. And then when you crash out of that and you have the depression part of it, it feels like you can't breathe. For me, it was like there was black tar being poured into my lungs, and every time I took a breath, more of it would go in, and it was stifling, and you just didn't want to see anybody, you didn't want to talk to anybody, you wanted just complete isolation, because you felt that that's what you deserved. At least I did. And that again was not truthful, but it was absolutely, in my mind, that was exactly what was supposed to be. So in essence, what I'm saying is mental illness just feels to me like everyday emotions just amplified to the nth degree. Because of my behavior and how erratic it was, I did have people that fell away. But that was on me. That was my responsibility, and I don't fault them at all. And in fact, I have re-engaged them recently, and we've picked up kind of where we left off. But I always had people that were there for me, and that's a very good point. And something I can't stress enough is you cannot do this alone. You cannot do it. I couldn't. I needed people there for me, whether it's in medical professionals or counselors or friends or family. You need that support network. It's vital to your recovery. Without it, I don't see how anyone can manage. And my family has always been there for me. We had some ups and downs, but they've always been there for me. They always supported me. They always loved me. I never felt that they had abandoned me, even though, I did for a brief period of time, but that was just a natural reaction to being to my situation, and I knew that I caused that. This was not their responsibility. This is on me. I was culpable for that. In specifics, I have had a few individuals, and they know who they are, that never left my side. They always wanted the best for me. They always thought that there was hope there, that there was a chance for me to not only survive but thrive. And they were right, and I owe them so much. I owe them a debt I can never repay, really. And I want to make sure that the way I'm going to do that, as best of my ability, is to live the best life I can, and to fill it with positive things.
So an important part of your recovery then has been the hope and confidence that those others had in you when you felt like you had none in yourself.
Absolutely, the hope and confidence that they instilled in me, because my reservoir was low. It was running out, and just talking to someone on the phone, or hearing a kind word from somebody, or having lunch with a friend of yours, anything like that, was incredibly powerful in my recovery, because it meant that I wasn't forgotten. And that's a strong motivator for me, was the fact that people wanted me to get better and wanted me to be in their lives. And I knew the only way I could be in their lives again was if I followed the rules and took my medication and took my treatment seriously to get back to the life I knew I could live.
And so it sounds like the message that they were giving you was perhaps something like, you can get through this. We can get through this.
You can get through this is something that I played over and over again in my mind. And it's something that you don't believe when you're starting out and you're looking at this mountain of stuff that you need to climb up and over. And it seems like you get up near the top and it keeps getting taller and taller and taller, and you keep slipping down, and then you get back up, and you think there's no way, but you start. That's why I keep saying, you start small and you build on that small, and then you get to the bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you're making leaps and bounds, and pretty soon you're finding yourself at the top. But I do want to stress that I never could have done that without the help and support of my friends and family, and I am so indebted to them because they've made this life for me possible.
So David, it sounds like you've matured as an individual and continue to mature. So based on the experiences that you've had all through your life and moving forward, what's the message you would pass around to society in general or your peers?
I think the message for anyone who's battling or is uncertain about their diagnosis or is going through a bout with mental illness or just having challenges in life is, number one, never lose hope. There is such a glorious life on the other side of it. It's worth the effort to get to there. And number two is find somebody you trust and talk to them. That could be a healthcare provider, it could be a nurse, it could be a family member, clergy, friend. If you're having feelings, especially really dark feelings, because I've had those, and I've been down that road, and it is a road you don't want to travel alone. Definitely talk to somebody. Get the help that you need, because it's out there. There's so much help out there that's available to anyone who's suffering. And it took me the longest time to realize that, and to actually find my way to a place where I could find a doctor that I could trust. I could find the ability in my heart to open up and talk about this and be candid about my illness, because it's something that a lot of times your tendency is to deny. And I'm so happy that I've opened up about it, because it's opened up a whole new world of possibilities for me.
Thank you very much. That's a wonderful story. So.
Thank you.
Listening to David's story, which is very, very powerful, it takes me back to the multiple times that I have seen him over the last few years during the deepest, darkest moments that he has gone through, the struggles with alcoholism, struggles of not wanting to be on medications, missing appointments, being homeless, struggling through the homelessness, losing the family support, regaining the family support. One thing that was always striking was he never lost the spark. He had that hope, he had that confidence, he had that drive, despite the serious struggles he went through. That actually pushed me to provide the optimism, provide the drive, keep the hope going, continue the light that I saw in David's eyes, and continue to provide that spark of recovery that he eventually now has achieved at this point in time. I'm happy to see that he actually is in a very happy place and that he's moving forward with his goals at this time.
From our conversation with David, we've come to understand the fear, the hopelessness, the darkness, the despair, the abandonment, the myriad of feelings that patients experience on their journey with mental illness. We've also heard him describe the challenges of finding hope in himself in the future. We've heard him describe the importance of support systems, those others who were there when he felt all was lost, the importance of family. He also described for us the importance of that therapeutic alliance and a healthcare provider that he could trust on his journey, the importance of hope on his journey towards wellness and wholeness. He has shared with us the importance of trust. Trust in others when he felt like he could not trust himself. And perhaps the most important take-home that he has left us with is that there is help available, that recovery is possible, and wholeness and wellness is possible.